All right, guys, welcome to the On the Line podcast. I'm your host, Noel Alberto, with co-host Oliver Dixon Jefford. Oliver, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, tired, very early morning here, about 8 a.m., but grind never stops. We're sorry that my Audacity kept crashing last week and my laptop was acting up, so this will technically be episode 5, but yeah, we have great stories to tell you with Jack Sock headed to London from 24 to 8. Then Julia Goerges ends her season on a 9-match win streak, with culminating with her biggest title in Zhuhai. And then we talk about the failure that was that ATP NextGen draw. So we are going to start with obviously Jack Sock, and man, just like you said it'd be a roller coaster ride for Paris. We did have a Nadal Cilic final, but it was you out of us two who predicted it'd be more wild and crazy, especially in that bottom half.
It was a mental week, which I think we kind of all expected that, but it turned out to be a lot more crazy than we thought. I mean, like even Jack Sock didn't know he could qualify. He was only told, I think, on the Wednesday, around the time I think he was 5-love or 5-1 down against Cole Edmund in the final set, and won that match, and he was told he could qualify if he won the title. Results went his way even. So it's crazy how he made it. I mean, if anyone predicted like a Sock Krajinovic final before the tournament, I don't know what they were on. It's like a mental week. Obviously, lots of the other London contenders falling early. Obviously, Curry went out early. Quentin Buster went out early. And, he was in a good position to qualify and hasn't played well since the US Open. So I think he's probably going to be a bit disappointed. But yeah, a great week for Sock. I think you create a high of 9th in the world.
Yep.
Yeah, jumps. I think so. Yeah, from 24th to 9th and that. So yeah, amazing week for him. And like a lot of people say, like he didn't face like any top 30 players. Well, that's not his fault. He can only face who's in front of him.
Exactly.
And sometimes this season he's lost to a lot of players he should have beaten. So it's still an encouraging week for him, I think.
Oh yeah, very much. And while someone did not predict a Sock Krajinovic final, we did have Paul Anacone, who said earlier in the week that Jack Sock was going to finish as the highest ranked American, and the only way that was possible is if he won the title. So, wow, props to him for that. But what a wild and crazy week. So, we had so many great storylines. So, we had Del Potro a set away from potentially qualifying. Isner takes him out. Then we had Isner, who could have set up the all-American and all last spot for London showdown, taken out by Krajinovic. And then we had Benito, who in his last Paris Masters, who had us on the edge of our seats with all the upsets he pulled off this week.
Yeah, I mean, Benito was a real revelation this week as he announced his retirement. It came and did himself proud as he got that great win over Cilic, some other like really good wins as well. I think he beat Tsonga, took Tsonga out of the race to London. So yeah, amazing week for him. So many good stories as well, like you said. It was so dramatic. Obviously, one slight rowing story in terms of Nadal's injury. We can obviously hope he's in London, but it doesn't look like that's guaranteed. So fingers crossed about that. But a dramatic and exciting week in general, I'd say.
Oh, for real. Oh, yeah. Paris never seems to fail, especially since last Masters of the season, a good amount of top players usually don't show or get eliminated early, so we're in for a treat. And then, so yeah, Krajinovic now into a career high. I believe he's inside the top 40. I believe it's 34. Just gonna double check on that. But what a time for him! And so, if injuries obviously hit around Australian Open, he's going to be seeded. So
it was an amazing week. Obviously, he was helped by the fact obviously Nadal withdrew from their quarterfinal, but obviously beating Isner still impressive. Obviously came through qualifiers, and won quite a few matches. And, very encouraging. Never even made a final before on the ATP Tour. I think only 2 semi-finals at 250 events.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, incredible week for him.
Yeah, it'll be encouraging to see how he does next year. And I just checked; he's actually 33, and obviously a couple of good tournaments because of how close the rankings are. He could get inside, look like maybe the top 30, top 25. So encouraging signs for not. He's not even young anymore. He's 25, but making him his major breakthrough already.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like it's very close. Obviously, if one person pulls out, he'll be seeded at the Australian Open. Has a good first week. Next year, he'll be seeded. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And as we've seen on like both sides, the ATP and the WTA, it's a lot of people are coming through a bit later. I mean, so maybe it's not an issue that he's 25, especially
Mhm.
considering a lot of players are going into their mid-30s now. He's probably, if he stays fit, he could have 10 years left. And, it could be best tennis of his career coming up.
Very much so. So Jack Sock is the last spot in London. So we have our 8 men. We have top 2 seeds Nadal Federer, second to Zverev team, Chilich Dimitrov, and then Goff and Sock. I mean, pretty sure. Well, we there was an update that Nadal's doctor said knee injury from Shanghai, no worse than what it was originally. So there's no long term damage there. So I'm thinking that most likely he'll be fit for London.
Well, I hope so, because obviously the tournament has relied on like, as
Star
well as
power.
Nadal, Federer has relied on like Djokovic, Murray, Wawrinka for so long. Obviously, they're not there, and obviously the other names that people know, like Nishikori, Raonic, aren't there also. I still think it's an interesting field. Obviously, Nadal and Federer are still there. They obviously draw huge crowds. I think Dimitrov's quite popular in the UK as well. A lot of people know him from Queens, so that'd be a good draw. So obviously Zverev and team, obviously both quite young, both quite exciting. So yeah, I think it's a good draw. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Do you know when the draw comes out?
I believe the draw's made on Wednesday.
Oh,
So
perfect. So we could either special pod then, when do a little live, or we could just sort of pod Thursday as our little preview for the draw. So that will be exciting to look for. And now we move on to Zhuhai, where we both correctly picked Julia Goerges win. Special shout outs for you because I had 3 of the 4 semifinalists. No, I'm kidding. But Julia Goerges, what a way to end her season. 9 straight match wins, career high of 14, and her biggest title of her career.
yeah, it's been an amazing season. I've seen like the past few years. It's like I think like 2013, she finished like around 75th in the rankings, something like that. And she was around there. She finished, hasn't been in the top 50 for quite a few years now. And this season jumped, I think, all like almost 40 spots, reached 5 finals. It's been incredible. Obviously, title in Moscow. And then this week, and if I remember correctly, I don't think she dropped a set this week. I might be wrong. But
No, she
yes,
didn't. Looks like, yeah, she didn't.
yeah. So it's been an amazing form. And she's someone, it'd be interesting to see if she can back that up next year, because you're coming in with that confidence. Obviously, she has got points to defend, quite a lot of them, more than ever. She said career high. But yeah, it's exciting to see. I think WTA is brewing up very nicely for next year. All the big names coming back, a lot of people finishing the season well. And a good week for Coco Vandeweghe as well. Obviously lost in the final, but she's made her top 10 debut today. So yeah, I think it's looking good.
Oh yeah, that was a quite exciting week in Zhuhai. Obviously, it's round robin, so you play your opponent once and that's it. And boy, it's set up for the dramatics when I think believe the last match came down to Van de Wey and Peng Shui, and Van de Wey needed, and they're both 1-0. So I believe a lot of them came down to that. But anyways, it was a good week for not just Coco and Julia, but the other 2 semifinalists, Ashley Barty, who came from Singapore in the doubles, and then Sevastova, who got through a tricky group with Slow not still struggling after her post US Open title.
Yeah, I don't think Sloane Stephens has won a set since she won the US Open, which is not encouraging. to be honest. But yeah, Sevastopol and Barty also had both great seasons as well, particularly Barty. Bit of a real revelation this year. Obviously, the final Wuhan, final Birmingham title back in Malaysia early in this year. So it's been great. And obviously, Sevastopol obviously won the title in Mallorca. Back-to-back quarterfinals at US Open, obviously beat Sharapova there before losing to Stevens. So yeah, they both had good seasons as well.
Yeah, very much. So this is really going to set up some exciting things, like you said, for the next season. Like, look, we have Barty, career hot. Sevastova, after her Zhu High semifinal, has matched her career high at 15, and Barty is at a new career high at 17. So, going to be so fun to watch the WTA next year.
Well, yeah, obviously it's going to be so open. Obviously, I think Serena's around 23rd. So she has
right on the money. Right on the money.
Yeah, so obviously she's gonna if she's back for the Australian Open, which is obviously her intention, could be pretty tight. But looking at so it's just so open. There's no outstanding contenders. Obviously, you have the top 8 who made it in Singapore, but they're not guaranteed. So I think we're going to have maybe not as extreme as Ostapenko, but we could have some more surprise major winners next year. Obviously, we had Ostapenko and Stevens this year. Yeah, I think we could get a couple of surprises. I feel again.
Yeah, very much so. So now we're gonna discuss. Oh boy, this ATP NextGen Finals draw. So obviously, we know how most draws are picked. I mean, players pick out little ping pong balls, or whatever, or things like that, or just computer generated, like the US Open, and then they just show it, which people didn't like. But yeah, so a little tacky, tasteless, whatever words you want to describe it, like misogynistic, throwing it back, like this is really bad. But the ATP and the Italian Tennis Federation thought it would be a great idea to have the next gen kids. These are kids; they're 21 and under, to pick a model to determine which group they're in. No, just no. Right, Oliver? Oh, boy.
It's just so trashy and inappropriate. It's it's like 2017. It's kind of like, what? And I think the worst thing about it is that no one is saying, yeah, but we decided that. The ATP, I'm furious. The Italian Federation apparently have no clue who decided it. So someone needs to take responsibility, because it's completely unacceptable to have a draw ceremony like that. I think I saw one of the players had to bite off one of the gloves the model was wearing, literally bite it off with his mouth.
Yeah, and then I saw one of the models lift up their pant or skirt or dress, kind of like the wedding thing where they take the garter, kind of like that, but this is that's a wedding. This is a freaking draw.
It's just completely unacceptable. I don't know who the hell decided that was okay, but I mean, the next gen fight, it's already attracted enough controversy. Obviously, there's some interesting rules there next week. A lot of people aren't a massive fan of them, but I'm not a massive fan of them, but it could be worth trying them. And I think this has only made things worse, and a lot worse, because it's a complete disaster. It should never have been allowed to happen at all.
Yeah, very much. And sadly, and so because the draws were made, they did give a wild card to an Italian. So it was Gianluigi Quincy. He's 21, resides in Bradenton, Florida. But yeah, not who we thought would get the wild card. If we were thinking it would be Italian, it'd be Matteo Berrettini, who's about teenager. Still, we've heard. Okay, we kind of heard of him. Did play Fonini in the first round of Rome. Has won a few challenger titles, and then was at least 15th in the race to Milan. And Quincy's 21, and he was, I believe, 56th to the race to Milan, and just inside the top 300.
It's a really strange choice. I mean, I can see why they'd want to give it to an Italian to attract more home attention, but then Berrettini would make more sense. I think it's kind of harsh on, like, as we were saying, like Francis TFO.
Yeah.
Obviously, Stefanos Tsitsipas. I'm looking on the Wikipedia page. You've got the points. So you've got like Rublev, who's obviously top seed because Zverev's not there. Got 1,219 points this year. And you've got the final direct entrant, Medvedev, who got 772 points this year. And you've got the alternates, which are TFO and Tsitsipas. TFO got 662, Tsitsipas got 606. Then you've got Quincy, who got 138. So it's a really strange choice, I think. And I don't think it's the best choice. I don't think it's really working out for this tournament. Obviously, the disastrous draw. I will say it's a poor pick for a wild card, considering how low down he is. And obviously all the controversy about the various rules they're trying, quite divisive. I could have got off to a better start.
Yeah, that not the best first year. I looked at it. Yeah, he did win Junior Wimbledon, but that's 4 years ago. So times are changing, and he did beat Hyun Chung. Unless they really want a Chung Quincy final, not even possible. It could be possible, but yeah, it is. Well, they're in the same group, but it's It was not the choice. Like Tiafoe would have drawn, or even Tsitsipas would have drawn so much more excitement.
Yeah, I mean, it would have made it more interesting as well. Definitely.
Oh,
I mean, obviously, I can see why they put an Italian in there because it's his
yeah.
home tournament.
Yeah.
Similar to Zhuhai, obviously, they put Peng Shuai in, but Peng Shuai was close to qualifying and has had a very good year, obviously, going up a lot of spots in the ranking, winning a title. So it's, yeah, I obviously, like we said, we would have given it to TFO. I think TFO would have made it very exciting. Obviously, a lot of people became interested in him. Obviously, beating Zverev in Cincinnati. Obviously, coming close to beating Federer at the US Open. So it would have been nice to see him there.
Yeah, it's a shame, but now we have to talk about the draws. So groups are made. It's Rublev, Shapovalov, Chung, Quincy in Group A. Khachanov, Coric, Donaldson, Medvedev in Group B. So yeah, so who do you fancy to make? I don't know how this is gonna work. Well, I mean, I'm guessing it's gonna work like every tournament that has a round robin, like Zhuhai, Singapore, London. But who do you fancy to get? Believe it is on indoor hard, so who do you think is going to make the semifinals?
It's hard to call because I don't think any of them have been in amazing form in the past few weeks.
Mm-mm.
Obviously, Shapovalov had that good run at the US Open. Obviously, you're looking at the first group.
Chung did push Nadal, but he still exited early. So, but those are encouraging signs.
I think obviously it's hard to see Quincy doing that well. So the first group, I think, is between Rublev, Shapovalov, and Chung. I think Rublev's had a coaching. I think Rublev is probably going to make it out of that group. I'm going to edge towards Chung as well, mainly because Shapovalov hasn't played that well from the US Open. So Rublev and Chung from the first group. Second group, another tough one. I think Khachanov and Coric have kind of struggled a little bit this year. But I think Coric will still make it through. I'm going to say Jared Donaldson as well, I think.
The American in me was very excited you said that. I mean, yeah, I do fancy Donaldson as well, but I'll get to my picks. It was Donaldson and Schwartz. All right, so my picks are going to be. I'll get to your finalist picks in a second, but they're going to be. Yeah, I will go. Oh no, I feel like I'll go Shapovalov and Rublev, and then the same two in Group B. Yeah, Shapovalov and Rublev. I mean, he Canadian might not be in the best of form, but he's playing against. I guess I mean not even kids his age because he's the youngest, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
All right. So because this is our only prediction for the week. So all our points are coming from here, and I'll do a live tally of our points from last week. But who who's winning this thing, and who do they beat in the final?
I think Rublev is going to win, and I'm going to say he beats Goreges in the final. I think, but it's hard to tell, obviously. But that's what my instinct says.
Uh, oh no, I went American bias last week at work, so maybe I'll do that again. I'll go, except I had him losing. So Donaldson to lose to Rublev. All right, so a live tally of our points last week. Yeah, we both. Okay, you crashed. I crashed and burned in Paris. You crashed and burned less. I'll give you that. Okay, so great. So a review. Oh boy, my semifinalists were Nadal, Del Potro, Cilic, Puig, and then Oliver's was not Nadal, Dimitrov, Cilic, Verdasco. We both had the Cilic Nadal final. Don't know why we did that. I think we learned our lesson for next year. Next year, jeez. But yeah, sleeper pick was Jack Sock for Oliver. Congratulations. My sleeper was Ferrer. Oh boy, it's such a sad season for him. But yeah, but my early exit was Songa. Actually, what did he exit? Oh, to Beneteau, yeah.
Yeah, second round, I think.
And then Anderson for you, correct the mundo. So we combined for a grand total of 3 points. You had 2 of them. So that puts the total at 39-42 with Zhuhai left. I don't know why, but I'm really good at making WTA picks. For some reason, my women's brackets for majors usually tend to be inside the top 1,000, which is pretty good considering how crazy women's tennis is.
Yeah, it's a bit easier. Obviously, not this season so much, but easier to predict men's usually. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think it was a run of like 9, 10 straight, dating back to a couple years ago that I had a few like inside the top like 100. So they're like, "How do you do this?" I'm like, "I don't know. Women's tennis is harder to predict." You're asking me. All right, so let's see. I had Goerges, Vandeweghe, Barty. Once again. So for my Zhuhai semifinalists, you had Goerges, Peng Shuai, Sloane Stevens, and Pavlyuchenkova. So yeah, this is where I make up all the ground. Sorry, buddy. All right, so I had a whopping 6 points from Zhuhai. Oliver had 3, and that would give us 47 plus or 37. Okay, so Oliver would have 42 points after the end of this week or week 4 of our picks, and that would give me a total of. I have 48, and we have 2 tournaments left for the season before off season kicks in, and we'll be very sad because what is life without this? No, we're kidding. But yeah. So we've made our picks. I mean, any other? Oh, I guess we could briefly mention this. A couple things. Azarenka will not be in the Fed Cup final due to the ongoing custody battle. So, any thoughts on that?
It's obviously, I think, disappointing for the team. Belarus obviously decreased the chance of winning. Obviously, it's disappointing for the crowd as well. I'm sure they would love to see her. It's in Minsk, but I still think they're capable of winning. Obviously, the American team is good. They've got Vandeweghe in there. Obviously, Stevens, and she hasn't done well since the US Open, but I still think it's going to be an interesting final. I think Belarus, they've got Sasnovich as well. So I think it's still going to be. I think it's going to be a tight final. I don't think America's going to dominate, which you kind of expect. But obviously, I think Azarenka would have really helped them.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Azarenka would have helped them very much. Obviously, an elite level player when she's playing, but I mean, they've done fine without her so far. With the likes of Sasnovich, you said Sabalenka, Kovrtsova, and Vera Lapko. So sure, the youngsters or most decent amount of youngsters can handle it, but we'll see. This is a different kind of pressure in the Fed Cup final.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they got the pressure of playing at home as well. So the crowd are mostly going to be supporting them. There will be some Americans there, but not that much. But then on the flip side of that, it's interesting to see how the American players will deal with that in terms of getting intimidated. I don't think that's going to bother Van der Wey somehow. She doesn't come across as the intimidated type. But it's still a lot of pressure on there. Obviously, knowing not the majority of the crowd are against you. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, for sure. And so trying to find anything else we could talk about. It says, like you mentioned, Italian Tennis Federation says ATP has organized the draw. We're not involved. ATP was like, who did this? So let's be real. So who's telling the truth here?
I don't know. No one seems to know at the moment. I dare say it will come out soon.
Has to.
It will come out soon and someone will lose a job. So we'll have to see. It's a complete
we could send their resumes in, right? Let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, Wozniacki was engaged. Congratulations to her. Engaged for a second time. First to Rory, now to NBA player David Lee.
Yeah, congratulations to her.
That was a surprise. I didn't know they were dating. So
didn't you?
I did not.
Yeah. So obviously she's had a great year. See now in personal life and professional life as well. Yeah. And obviously we saw that article the Australian Open put up. If it was the ATP ranking system was on the WTA, should be year-end number 1.
So yeah.
That was an interesting look.
That was an interesting read. Yeah.
So it's interesting. So yeah, she's had a great year, obviously, like I said, personally and professionally, and sets her up well. Obviously, it's going to be tough for her to win a major because the courts are a bit faster than they were in Singapore. But you couldn't rule it out, especially at the US Open, where she's twice a finalist.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if it's ever going to happen for her, I think it will be next year.
Yeah.
Especially after the confidence from this year.
Mm-hmm. And then here's the last bit of news. So, let's see. So, according to the AS, I see on Twitter, Nadal won't make a decision about playing before arriving on site on Wednesday. So we should know by a couple of days whether he's playing or not. So even though it seemed like he could be fine, he's going to cut it to the last minute.
Yeah, I think obviously he needs to be certain. There's no point risking any long-term damage for playing one tournament. Obviously, he has a good chance of winning it. But he's already won 2 Grand Slams this year. I know he's never won in London, but I'm sure if he retires without winning at London, he won't be too bothered. So yeah, it's best for him to be safe and sorry.
Yeah, I mean, he did say in his presser in Bercy that he, at the time when they're asking him the questions, he wasn't looking to London. He was saying he was looking more long-term, that he wants to keep playing tennis long-term. And obviously a significant knee injury could hamper that. But yeah, hopefully we have Nadal in action in London. If not, good luck to, who would it be? Carreño Busta would be the alternate, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and he said it's been a dream season for him despite just missing out. But we'd obviously like to see Nadal in London. We will be back either Wednesday or Thursday, or maybe even Friday, to discuss the draw for London, make our picks, and maybe talk a little Milan as well. So, Oliver, where can we find you on Twitter?
At OliverDJ1998.
All right, nice and concrete. And then I am at Not First Noel. Our Twitter is at On the Line Pod, and you could find both of us writing. Well, me, Oliver, taking little heist, little uni stuff going on, busy boy. And then, but yeah, you could find our writings at Naval USA Tennis will be. So it is the end of the season, so we will be writing our end of the our season reviews for plenty of players, and most importantly, we'll be having our first ever end of the year Naval USA Tennis Awards on social media, which is run by our good friend James Froud, and so I hope you guys take a gander at those polls. We will be voting end of the year, like player of the year, comeback player of the year for each tour, and even like fancy stuff, outfit of the year. So not your typical yeah, tour ceremony, award ceremony, but it'll be definitely be something fun, and we will see you all later this week.